On New Year's Day, I'll be dropping my annual video on the top 10 most popular videos on the channel for 2021, based on what you, the viewers of the channel, have determined with what you've viewed and liked throughout the year. For today, I want to talk about my own personal choice for both the best and the most disappointing models that have passed through my hands in this calendar year. So fasten your seatbelt and let's get into it. Before I start, I have to say that my purchasing this year was much more targeted, with a greater emphasis on quality than quantity. As a result, the models at the bottom end of this list are more models in need of improvement rather than total lemons. So if you're looking to see some below par models getting totally ravaged, you should switch off now. That's not to say the bottom models on my list are going to get away lightly, so let's get into them. The Hornby R3215 Class 390 Pendolino 4-car train pack in the Avanti West Coast livery comes in as the most disappointing model of the year with a score of 6.5. A nice livery is let down by an excessively high price, uneven quality and poor running performance, which in the case of my model meant the prototypical speed couldn't be achieved out of the box due to derailments. This rehashed version of a 10-year-old model is actually worse than the original version performance-wise. This popular contemporary train isn't well served by Hornby's latest incarnation. I was really disappointed with this model. Next on my most disappointing list for 2021 is the Hornby R3215 Mark III DVT in the InterCity Swallow livery, with a score of 3 stars under my old scoring scheme. Here we have another rehashed model that fell short of the original. Its failings included an elevated price, lack of prototype adherence, a terrible light bleed issue, and overall poor quality. I was really looking forward to this model based on the previous incarnations, but what a disappointment it turned out to be. While scoring wise it's actually the worst model of the year, the Pendolino was a bigger disappointment, and hence I've given it the dishonour of that title. Thankfully this is the end of the most disappointing list, and everything is positive from here on. Yes, there were other models that fell short in certain areas, but the failings were either limited to certain aspects of the model or were in keeping with the price range, so not appropriate to be taken apart on this video. The next group of models fall into the honourable mention category. These were models which may have had some failings, but they impressed me overall in terms of the performance value level they were delivering. Fourth on this list is another Hornby offering, the R3215 Eurostar 373 E300 train pack in the post 2014 Eurostar livery, with a good 4 stars under my old scoring scheme. Combined with the R4580 coach pack, I found this to be a low cost and enjoyable model to run. Yes, its melting traction tyres drove me absolutely crazy, but its ability to achieve a prototypical scale speed without any derailment was in sharp contrast to its much more expensive Class 390 cousin. For the price point, I found it hard to fault this model, and its running performance actually improved with the removal of the traction tyres at the expense of a modest reduction in top speed. Overall, I was happy with the R3215 Eurostar and intend to add lighting and sound to it in the future. Now that's saying something for what is fundamentally a budget offering from Hornby. Third on my honourable mentions list is the Hornby Railroad R3396 TTS Class 9F Crosti. I think in general you can probably put all of the Railroad Class 9F Crostis into this category, because I've had previously good experience with other 9F models from Hornby. I had hoped to purchase the R3942 and add TTS Sound and review that, but unfortunately that model was sold out for most of the year, which made me look at the pre-owned market. That's when I came across the R3393 TTS for the princely sum of £137, with some very good custom weathering added. That model has really impressed me, delivering probably the best performance of any of the Hornby Railroad steam locomotives, and in general the Hornby Railroad steam models are significantly better performance-wise than their Railroad diesel cousins. I would see the Railroad 9F as a diamond in the rough, a model operating beyond its price grade. While the newly tooled 9Fs will attract a lot of interest in 2022, I'll be sticking with this model. I never formally reviewed this model, but based on the running session, I believe it warrants an inclusion in this list. Second on my honourable mentions list was actually my first Great Western Railway purchase of the year in the shape of the Bachmann Class 57/6, model number 32756 ASF. also called Restormel Castle, in the GWR green livery with the DCC Sound. And this came with a score of 8.6. I have a number of Bachmann Class 57s already, and this was going to become the most up-to-date version in that fleet. A smooth runner out of the box, this well-equipped model became an instant favourite with me, and is probably my favourite Class 57 now. The livery has a slightly more bluish tint to it than the Hornby GWR green, but not so much so as to look out of place with the Hornby Mark III GWR rolling stock. With a desire to run both loco and HST hauled Mark III GWR stock, this was always going to be an essential purchase for me, and I'm glad to have taken it on board. Top of the honourable mentions list are the Silver Bullet ICA wagons from Dapol. This year's ICA wagon release had only minimal branding changes from the previous version, but I decided to cover them in a review as I was really impressed with them on multiple fronts. In terms of running performance, appearance and value for money, they are simply excellent. Dapol have done a great job here, and these wagons are worth consideration by any UK modern image freight modeller. I scored these wagons as a 5-star on my old scoring scheme, and hence they rank as the number 1 in the rolling stock I've reviewed this year. I'm positioning them here as I want to reserve the top 4 places for locomotives. And so we get to my top 4 favourite models for 2021. At number 4 is the Hornby R3215 GWR Class 43 HST with a score of 8.6. This was a 2020 model which I struggled to source until this year, and I was very pleased to get my hands on it when I eventually tracked a model down this year. It has everything you would expect from the current generation of Hornby Class 43 HSTs, including the low-cost TTS sound option. This is capped off with a really nice rendition of the GWR livery, which perfectly matches the Hornby's Mark III coaching stock in the same livery. The combination makes a very nice contemporary HST offering that should satisfy any Western modeller or fan of the GWR livery like myself. Third in my overall ranking is a Class 66 from Bachmann, with a score of 4.5 stars under my old scoring scheme. The Bachmann 32740 SF is a Class 66 that comes in the GBRF British Rail large logo blue British Rail 1948-1957 livery, and it includes DCC Sound. I had originally hoped to get the Hattons Class 66 in this livery, but following the diabolical experience with my first Hattons model, I decided to take the safe route and go with a lower cost Bachmann model instead. While a fully working Hattons 66 will edge out the Bachmann in just about every department, it's the unknown lottery factor in purchasing a Hattons model that put me off. I know some folks have undertaken to do whatever was necessary to get their Hattons models in shape and love them to bits as a result. For 2021, I was happier taking the Ronseal route with a Bachmann 66, as I knew it would do what it says on the tin without any fuss or hassle. The 740 SF is a nice model with a smooth running from the first moment I put it on the track. Coming in at £195 with sound on board, it delivered an excellent combination of good value, smooth performance and a cleanly rendered livery. Sitting in second position on my list with a fantastic review score of 8.9 isn't actually a 2021 model, but I only got to cover it this year. It's the Hornby R3514 GWR Class 800 5-car set. I've had my eye on the Class 800 for some time and have an Azuma on pre-order. With my 2021 conversion to the GWR green livery complete, a version of the Class 800 in that livery became a high priority for me, and I eventually tracked down a pre-owned version in near mint condition. The Class 800 has some minor shortcomings, but on the fundamental pillars of appearance and performance, I was extremely pleased with it, and would have to say that it is one of my favourite models now. If the Azumas can deliver everything this model did and perhaps address one or two of the shortcomings, they will be fantastic models indeed. And so to my favourite model of 2021. With the delays to other models, the Irish A-Class from Irish Railway Models was always going to be a candidate for top spot in any end-of-year review, but it still had to deliver, and it did deliver on all fronts, becoming the highest scoring locomotive on this channel ever with an incredible score of 9.6. All that was missing at the end of the day was the Crosti engine sound, which we eagerly await once COVID allows. With the variety of liveries and configurations spanning over 40 years of service, each generation of the A-Class has its own personality, and IRM excellently captured this in each of the A-Class variations it produced. I found myself enjoying each variant of this iconic Irish locomotive in a different way. Functionally and detail-wise, the A-Class is equipped to an equivalent standard as the retooled Bachmann Class 47, but is priced considerably lower. While flying under the radar for most UK modelers, this first locomotive release from IRM whets the appetite for the upcoming Eurostar releases, and I have to believe we'll be discussing one or two of those models this time next year. Overall, a stunning set of models from IRM, which unfortunately won't have the YouTube stats to feature in my best videos on the channel for 2021 due to the timing of the release. This is one of the reasons I needed to do this video, to highlight top class models that may have gone relatively unnoticed from a viewing perspective. So there you have it, my top models for 2021, along with a few disappointing models that should have been better. A lot of potential candidate models didn't make 2021 due to various design and manufacturing delays. These include the Eurostar Class 37, Class 55 and Class 92, the Hornby Class 800 Azumas, as well as the Hornby Class 91s and the Class 43 in the First Great Western livery. Look forward to seeing these models in the year ahead. So what are your thoughts on these models? What were your top models for 2021 from the models you purchased this year? And what was your most disappointing model, if there was one? As always, please share in the comments. Finally, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who supported the channel this year, and particularly anybody who has subscribed to the channel. You're the best, and I hope you were able to get some good value from the channel in 2021 and will get even more value from it in the year ahead. I've received feedback and requests for certain items to cover, and I hope to include these during the coming year. A warm thanks to everyone who provided feedback and comments during the year. Sharing your experiences and opinions all helps to assist other viewers to the channel, and I'll always acknowledge or respond to every comment. As I mentioned, I'll be posting a video on New Year's Day where I'll be going through the top 10 videos on the channel as voted by you based on your views and likes on YouTube. Looking forward to seeing you on that, and in the meantime, I would like to wish you and your families a very happy, peaceful and safe Christmas. Take care of yourself over the Christmas, and I'll talk to you on New Year's Day. Bye for now.